Hey, this is Rodney Peete, NFL veteran of 16 years, co-host of Rogan and Rodney on AM 570 LA Sports and iHeartMedia. This is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. Come on now.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. With me, as always, is my guy Roman Harper. He's got his little shirt popped open. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to show like he in LA. He got the LA vibes right now. What is this? Pink leopard or something with the olive green?
Yes. What are these? I don't even know what they are. They're like petals. So yeah.
Petals.
Yeah, they like fall off roses and things of that nature.
It's very frosty.
Yeah, it's all good. I appreciate that. Anyways, let me get out here and give a shout out to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, wherever you take in your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Radio app. Thank you for always tuning in. Give us a rating, a review, 5 stars, please. Give us a couple comments, share, like, and always give us a follow, man. And Peanut, what do? We tell them to tell a friend to do what? Tell a friend. There we go, just in case you didn't remember. Peanut, who is our special guest this morning? I'm really excited about this one. Grew up watching this man do a lot of great things.
I think we all did. Can I just say he is the greatest multi-sport athlete to come out of the state of Arizona. He was an All-American at USC, 16-year NFL vet. Author of Sports Radio. He runs a foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Peete, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you for that intro, man.
Oh, yeah. You got to bring it, man. You've earned that. Yeah. 16 years?
16, man. 16. Yeah, I'm still walking upright, too.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, no, I think back at it, and you guys know, it can be a grind over the years, and you keep going, and you go training camp after training camp after training camp. But after a while, they start to run together, and you look back and go, man, yeah, 16 years. It really did. And I know it sounds cliche-ish, but it really did fly by. It really did. But I enjoyed every minute of it.
So I hate to do this to you.
Do it.
But we want you to explain something to us.
Okay.
All right. You look a little bit different. You look great this morning.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Thomas, put me back here. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, a little bit of TV magic here.
Yeah.
I want you to explain this to me.
Okay.
You look beautiful, but right here.
For what y'all don't see, it's Rodney Peete in high school, and he's got a Jheri curl. He got the soul glow. He got the soul glow.
It was at the
end
of its term.
Jersey.
That Jheri curl was at the end of that term. I think I had to get it redone right there. But wow.
Touch up.
Look at y'all. Dug way back in the archives to get that bad boy right there.
Is that your sophomore year?
That was my sophomore year in high school. In fact, I think that is right after we won the state title in basketball in Arizona. Yeah. In basketball, you had to have the hair bouncing up and down.
You got to.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ain't under a helmet.
No, it's under a helmet. You had to let it go, man. You had to let it go. So, yeah. I rocked it for a while. That's crazy.
You could have been a member of.
My God.
It's like Boys in the Hood right there. Like that's Ice Cube. That's NWA quality length.
The real deal with no wig.
Easy. Yeah, you had full length.
Oh my God.
Now, how long did you grow that to get that?
Oh man. Yeah, speaking of that sophomore year, I think I started in junior high, man.
Yeah,
like middle school, and telling my mom, "You're not cutting my hair. You're not cutting it at all. I gotta let it go."
That is hilarious.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's
all right.
funny.
So let's stay back.
That's how we starting.
That's how we start. That's it.
That took you way back. He looked. It was like if y'all could have saw his face. He was just like, "Oh my God, damn."
I'm glad you knew. Yeah. You remember exactly what it is, though.
Yeah.
I want to go to this, though. We'll stay back a little bit, and that is in 1988-89. You were runner-up for the Heisman Trophy, and you lost it to a young man by the name of Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And we all saw, Barry, didn't even react when he won the Heisman.
No, he did not.
He didn't react at all.
Kind of like when he scores a touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, here you go, Red.
No emotion.
Yeah.
And you lead me right to my next question. What was it like to go from that point where you saw him in college do what he did, you had all the accolades and were coming off your great year, to where now you guys are in Detroit together just the following year?
it was amazing. First of all, he is a he's an amazing guy, and you know it's funny that you say that he didn't react to winning the Heisman because that's actually genuinely who he is. And when you get to know him, you understand that's who he is. Because sometimes you see him from afar, and I do remember in college. First of all, nobody knew who he was to start our senior year. Going back,
Yeah.
I'm dating myself because I'm going back to 1988, and we're leading up to it. It was a really good class. I mean, there was some great team. Deion Sanders in Florida State
Yeah.
were rolling at that time.
Yeah.
You know, and Nebraska and Broderick Thomas and Steve Taylor were rolling at that time. Oklahoma had it going at that time with Jamel Holloway. So, and then across town, UCLA and Troy Aikman, they had it going. So there was a lot of those names out there in '88 that were people saying, "Whoa, this could be a nice Heisman race." And so halfway through the season, we started off undefeated. UCLA started off undefeated. So it was a lot of Troy Aikman, Rodney Peete in California, and we're doing our thing. And then about week 6, we started seeing highlights of this cat from Oklahoma State that was just running for 200 yards, running for 350, and not against, you know, Little Sisters of the Poor. He was doing it against, you know, Nebraska. He was doing it against, you know, Oklahoma. He was doing it against Texas, and he was running. He was doing all the. It was a highlight every weekend. And you were like, this dude is amazing, amazing. And then by the time it came for the ceremony at the Heisman thing, we all knew it was Barry's trophy because he had just done and had a phenomenal season that year. So I got to know him a little bit then, but then when we went to Detroit, you know, and I was fortunate, like you guys said, I played 16 years. I played for 6 different teams. I played with other unbelievable running backs over that time. Had a chance to spend a year in Dallas with Emmitt Smith. Ricky Waters was in Philly with me for a few years.
Love Ricky.
But nobody, I'm telling you, nobody was like Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And I used to pride myself on being able to, you know, do play action well and carry out my fakes, but he made me the worst faking quarterback in the whole league because every time I handed the ball off, I just wanted to watch him.
Right.
You know, I didn't carry it out. I just turned around and watched him because he was going to do something amazing. And it could have been a 5-yard run, but that 5-yard run was one of the most amazing 5-yard runs you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But just amazing teammate to have, an amazing person too. To this
he
day,
was
he
definitely
really
my favorite.
I got one more little quick follow-up,
growing
Peanut.
up.
My bad. And that's like, so you went from Heisman. Like, I want to know your mentality though, because you were projected and you were great in college, and then your NFL career started off a little, I would say, rocky. I mean, you were 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
You went
That's
100.
Rocky.
Yeah, I was like, you were 141st
Yeah.
overall when you went from a Heisman Trophy candidate, and were the man at USC, to all of a sudden, oh, he's too small.
Right.
Oh, his arm strength is in question. And you look at that, and that was really a true narrative that a lot of quarterbacks had to fight, especially quarterbacks of color at that time. Maybe kind of walk me through that part of it as well. And then you still got 16 years.
Yeah, it was. Look, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It was a very difficult time.
Right.
Because that's what you do. You know, there's a certain point for all of us that we figure out, I got a shot to make it in the NFL. I got a shot to go pro. You know, maybe not happen at 8th grade. Some folks it does. 9th grade early on, you know, you go into the league. But there comes a time where you figure out, I can do this. I can do this long term, and I can go to the next level doing this. And it happened for me in college. And I started at USC middle of my freshman year. So I played a full 3.5 years at USC and was kind of growing each year. And then got to my senior year and was in the national conversation. We had went to the Rose Bowl the year before, and we were projected in the top 5. I think we were ranked to start the season, ranked number 2 or 3 in the country. And so there was a lot of attention. As I mentioned, the Heisman race. They're talking about Troy Aikman and me. And so you build up that whole season, and we go on, and we win 10 straight games. We're number 1 against Notre Dame, or number 2 against Notre Dame, number 1. They beat us. They go on and win a national title. But after that, you're like, okay, now what's next? It's the next level.
Yeah.
It's the league. And heard it all. Heard it all, man. Heard okay, we're not sure, because I played baseball in college too. We're not sure if he's going to play baseball. Well, do we want to waste a pick on him high if he's going to play baseball? So I took that out of the equation. I didn't play baseball my senior year.
Right.
So in the spring of my senior year, I decided not to play because I really wanted to play football. So I didn't want to give them an excuse say, to not draft me. So I didn't play and just worked out for the combine and then worked out and had a pro day at SC and all things were going well. So you start to get, and back then it wasn't like it is now where there's so much attention, there's so much detail on, draft, prospects and where you're going to go and talking to this and interview for this. It was, you get calls from different teams and say, hey, we're thinking about you. We just want to talk to you about it. And so there were about half a dozen teams that said, yeah, we like you and we think. And then the projections came in, like late first round, second round. We can work with you. And draft day comes, and it was first round goes, second round goes, third round goes. Then I started seeing other quarterbacks go. And because everybody knew Troy was going to be number one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was from all season long the year before. He was going to be number one pick for the Cowboys. Cowboys came out and said it. So it was like Troy and everybody else, basically. And so I started to see these quarterbacks go in the second round and third round and then the fourth round and the fifth round. And the fifth round ended the first day. So I didn't get drafted on the first day of the draft. So I'm sitting there, 5 rounds go by, I'm not drafted, and I'm wondering at that point, am I ever going to get drafted? And it was the longest night that I have ever had. I think to this day, just thinking about not being able to sleep because this is what you dream about. This is what you want. And you think you worked and you proved yourself enough to get noticed and to have an opportunity to play. Because after the 5th round went by, you started thinking, am I not even going to opportunity to play?
Yeah.
Anybody going to ever draft me, right? And so the next day rolls around, and I think Detroit had like one of the early picks in the morning of that 6th round, and Wayne Fonz called me, and they called me and said, we drafted you, come on in. But it was a difficult thing because 9 quarterbacks went before me.
Do you remember them?
I remember some of them.
Yeah,
some of them. The guy, I think Anthony Dilwig was one of them from Duke who went to Green Bay at that time, and then I think it was a guy named Jeff Carlson that played at Weber State. And then
shout out to Jeff Carlson, who I've never heard of.
And there's another guy at Oregon State that played in the pack with us. And so again, 9 of them went.
Yeah.
And
did that put a chip on your shoulder?
Oh,
had to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there was a part of me that was, you know what, the hell with this. I'm going to play baseball.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go play baseball. And interesting enough, a month later was the baseball draft.
Right.
And the Oakland A's drafted me.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted me the year before, and I didn't go. But then they
Right.
drafted me again when they saw that I flipped and then dropped to the 6th round. They said, well, okay, maybe there's a shot. And I went up and worked out for them. They were, they drafted me, I think, in the 13th, 14th round, but they were offering me like first-round money to come and play for them. And for the first time, I seriously considered doing it.
Right.
But then in talking to, my parents, my family, my brother, and some other people that were close to me, other coaches and other guys that I played with, it was, you got to go show them. You got to go show them. You got to go let them know that they made a mistake and that you can play in this league. And so when I heard all that, I was like, I got to go do it. I got to go to Detroit. I got to go play. And my mind was made up. And then again, 16 years later, I outlasted all.
Everybody. Yeah. I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The right choice.
I cannot hit a baseball. I cannot hit a fastball. I can only steal bases. I'm like Willie Beeman from Major League. That's the only thing I can do. You've been drafted 4 times.
Yeah.
You got drafted in 84, 88, 89, and 90.
Yeah.
What kind of baseball player? Tell me what kind of baseball player you were.
Ooh.
Because I know what I'd have been.
Way, many people thought I made the wrong decision, including coaches, especially my baseball coaches. And to this day, I would run into different people. Said you should. I mean, I run into Barry Bonds all the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, you should have played baseball. I told you should play baseball." I was like, man, my heart was in football though.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. If I'd have played baseball, I would have always wondered what it would have been like to play football. I don't feel that way playing baseball. I mean, playing football, going, God, I should have played. I wonder what it was be like playing baseball.
Yeah.
I admire it, you know, and I appreciate it, but I don't think I would feel the same way if it was flipped around. But yeah, no, we were good. In fact, you know, during that time, you know, playing baseball in the Pac-10 as it was like playing minor league baseball because the talent level was so good. Like I mentioned, Barry Bonds went to Arizona State. He was playing there. I was on the team with the big unit. Randy Johnson was on the team.
Big unit.
And yeah, Brett Boone was my teammate.
Was he throwing it still as hard back then?
Oh yeah, harder. Yeah, he didn't care back then. That's all he threw was a fastball. And he would knock you out. Too.
Didn't even have the slider.
Oh, it was all a bit of 6'10" coming off that hill. It was scary. You know, he'd be before he start a game, he would have, you know, like AC/DC rocking hard in the clubhouse, going out there, and I think he might have smoked 2 or 3 joints before he got on the hill, and was just coming at, and he intimidated so many people, man. It was incredible to see that size of a guy throwing that hard. But yeah, so I was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So Bo Jackson is my all-time greatest athlete. The amount of amazingness he had on the field, on baseball and football, he was just like blew me away, breaking the bats with his leg. Did you ever think that you could do baseball and football? Was that ever a thought?
It barely, but at the pro level, to play quarterback and play baseball would be difficult. You can't do it.
Great thought.
You can't do it. Like if I was a receiver, running back like Bo was, or defense back like Dion, probably could do it. Yeah. Probably could do it. But the demand on the quarterback position, the demand in the offseason, demand of studying, trying to come in to a season, say in September, and then, okay, I'm going to transition back to football after you played baseball spring and summer. As a quarterback, that'd be very difficult to do. And so it wouldn't have happened. But I'm with you with Bo. Bo, you know, we see his football highlights all the time, but if you just go and just watch his baseball highlights, that man, I mean, incredible. Yeah. Incredible athlete. Incredible.
Well, it was funny because at that time it was 3 guys. It was Bo, it was Dion, and then Brian Jordan.
Brian Jordan
was also the other guy that a lot of people don't talk about, but he was also in Atlanta playing football and then would switch over and play some baseball too. But you bringing up the quarterback,
I didn't think about that.
I didn't either. I was like, that makes all the sense in the world not to be able, because you still got to be the.
My one question is, how hard is it to hit a fastball?
The fastball is the easy part. It's everything else because you can time. If you like Randy Johnson, like in college, there were games where he would get shelled. I mean, they hit him for like 8-9 runs. Because he thought he could throw it by everybody. And he did that for the first inning. Then that second time around, people would time him up. So a fastball is usually the easiest pitch to hit because you can time it up. If you time it up right, then you can hit it. It's the off-speed pitch. It's the breaking ball. It's the pitch that you think is coming at you. You're getting out of the way, and it turns out to be a strike. That's the pitch that is difficult to hit because you got to get so ready for that fastball that's coming at 95, 98 miles an hour that you're so far ready for that, and then they throw something soft, and you're way out in front of it. You know, so that's the difficult thing is to be able to adjust to the different, speed and velocity of the pitches.
Told you we could hit a fastball.
Yeah. Dude, there's no way we can hit a fastball. We had this conversation yesterday. That's what he's bringing this up. He's all in his head.
Thomas in there shaking his head. We can hit a fastball.
This is a whole deal.
Big unit. I can hit your fastball.
Put it right here every time. Sooner or later, I'm going to hit it.
Exactly. That's not going to happen. So this is I know we want to try and move this thing along, but I really, really am intrigued by this. And so you played 16 years. I know you're probably happy, excited. Tell me about how you felt when you accomplished that. But then also, I want to know, because I've also heard in some other interviews how you said, well, you did the Best Damns TV show. But overall, you weren't always happy with your second act immediately. And so how eventually did you work through that? Or maybe talk about some of those emotions of what you were feeling, what you're feeling like you're missing out on, because this is why we do this show.
Right.
And this podcast is to really dive into that too, because we all have our inner struggles or our own internal battles.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys for doing this, because this is something that, first of all, you can't talk about it enough.
Yes.
Right. But it's something I'm sure you guys deal with it when you run into other fellow players or whatever. It's like, man, how was it for you when you retired? What, how did you transition? And it's different for everyone, but at the same time, it is a struggle, I think. And now how big that struggle is, it's all individualized, and you figure out for each person. But for me, you never really know when it's going to end, but you know it's going to end at some point. And you try to prepare yourself, at least you should, and you try to prepare yourself for that time. And I always wanted to be in entertainment. I wanted to be in media. I wanted to do something like that. And so I kind of started preparing myself prior to my time that I was leaving, like the last 3 or 4 years. When I was in Carolina, I would come back to LA and I would work in different studios, and I would try to understand the business as much as I could. And then when I was contemplating retirement, I think it was like 2005, Best Damn Sports Show called. Said, we're revamping the show. We want to bring you in, and would you like to be a part of it? And I was like, okay, this is a sign. This is it, right? I don't have to search for that next gig.
It's already here.
I'll go right to Fox and do Best Damn Sports Shows right here. I don't have to wait a year or two to figure out what I'm going to do. And I transitioned right into it. But it was still difficult, because as much as people tell you what it's going to be like when you're tired, you don't know until you do it yourself.
Very true.
Because that feeling you get when you put on that uniform and you run out in the stadium, you warm it up, and then all of a sudden you get that first hit, right? And the game starts and they kick it off, and you're like, man, there's nothing like this. That tingle you get, that butterfly feeling you get. And so when you retire, I think we often try to duplicate that somewhere. We try to find that void. We're trying to find that same feeling, when in essence, there's never going to be that feeling again. You got to change that direction. So if you keep trying to search for that same feeling, you're never going to get there, right? And so you got to, for lack of a better phrase, you got to find a different high. And once you come to grips with that, I'm not going to have that feeling anymore, I think you start to be okay with retirement and what's going to happen secondarily for you. Because there were a period of time, for a good 3 to 4 years, time I was on Best Damn, that as great a gig as it was, it didn't fill me up. It didn't fill me up. I didn't feel like, okay, where's that feeling I had? Where's those butterflies that I had when I was playing? Where can I get that? So you start searching. That's why guys do different things, right? I'm going to get a restaurant. I'm going to get a nightclub. I'm going to get this. I'm going to go do the real estate thing. I'm going to do whatever, trying to search for it, instead of saying, okay, that was that. I'm going to put that away. I have all those memories, but now my energy's focused somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's not easy to do. I mean, I'm saying it, but it's not easy to do.
Right. So since being retired, and I'm assuming you've found more things to do, what have you been up to? And then what's been the most fun that you've been doing?
Oh, man, raising 4 kids has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. My oldest are twins that are 26 years old. And, speaking of the whole retirement thing, which another part of it was difficult, is that my oldest son was diagnosed with autism at 3 years old. And that was that took a toll on me as well, because that happened later in my career towards the end. And then into retirement, there was a level of me being in denial about that. Because at that time, say 22, 23 years ago, not a lot of people were talking about autism. They were lumping it into ADHD or just any kind of developmental disorder that we didn't have a whole lot of studies, and people weren't talking about it. So I did what my dad would do, right? I'm going to try to coach it out of you. I'm going to try to coach the autism
Didn't
out
mean
of
to
you.
laugh, but,
Yes, it's true.
but I can see it.
Right? We're going to go in the backyard. We're going to play catch. We're going to work this through. And you're going to make eye contact with me, and you're going to have your speech, and we're going to talk through it. And
We're going to fix it.
We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, my wife was like rolling up her sleeves going, okay, we got to read this article. We got to read this book. We're going to talk to this doctor. We got to talk to this therapist. We got to find out everything we do. She would send me articles and magazines and books on a regular basis. And I never opened them, never wanted to read them. And she would come, and this was when I was playing in Carolina. She would come, and that box would not even be open. And we'd have our knockdown, drag out fights about it because she knew there was a period of time that you had to attack it. You had to really get in with both feet and get to the therapies and understand, what this was all about. And I was not willing to do that. It was my first son, right? He was my firstborn son. I had my name.
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna be a star. He's ready
right.
Hey, we're gonna go play Little League.
Yeah.
Do all these things.
He's going to USC.
Yeah, all of that. And when that hits you, that may not happen. It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing on a dad. And a lot of fathers that I talk to now, they go through that because they have this vision of what they want for their son. And when that doesn't happen or that is derailed a little bit, then it's a difficult thing to adjust to.
Right.
From a marriage standpoint,
Yeah.
individually standpoint, a lot of people start drinking too much, like I did, started drinking way too much and just like I don't want to even think about it. I didn't want to think about it. And until I came to grips with I gotta look at this from his eyes, from my son's eyes, right? From his world instead of my world is when I started to come around. And really, basically, my wife gave me an ultimatum. She was like, you better get on board or you're going to have to get on out. And because at the end of the day, I'm going to choose him because I gotta be there all in for him. And if you're not all in for him too, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So that hit me hard. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
That was, look, man, we all get hit sometimes, smack dead in the face with some kind of ultimatum. My wife told me one time, hey, would you want your daughter to date you? Like, you hit that dose of reality, and it does kind of shake you. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Talk about the some of the work that you and your wife do with your foundation, and I know you do some stuff with autism.
Yeah, we do. We have our
Speak
own
about it.
foundation. Yeah, it's called HollyRod Foundation. It's hollyrod.org. You can find it. But we do everything from early intervention and helping families deal with it, early education. One of our big things now is we work with a number of corporations to hire kids that are on the spectrum. Because one of the things as these kids kind of matriculate through middle school and high school, it's like, okay, most of them will not go to college, right?
Right.
It's okay. What happens now? They're becoming young adults, and okay, so how do they interact in society? And a lot of times people are afraid of what they don't know. So they're not going to hire a kid that's got special needs or maybe a little different, right? So we really are trying to be out there as much as we can, talking to corporations, say, hey, it's okay to hire this kid. He will be your best worker. He will be your most loyal worker. Just give him a chance.
Yeah.
And that's been rewarding for us because we've been able to place kids in different jobs with restaurants and then businesses and things like that have really benefited them and their families. And it really came about because of what happened to us. We were going through that situation. We were fortunate enough, again, to have him diagnosed as early as possible.
Yes.
And he grew over those years, but
Right.
not to the point where he was going to go to a typical 4-year college.
Yeah.
So he got to be 18. We're like, okay, what are we going to do now with him? How are we going to help him become a young adult? And so we started looking for a job for him, and it was so difficult for someone, even with the people and the connections that we had, of someone really just taking a chance on it.
Right.
And then finally the Dodgers called.
Really?
Yeah. We had friends over there. Magic Johnson had just bought the team with the Guggenheim guys. And so we knew a lot of people that were coming on to the Dodgers as new people. And one of them was Lon Rosen, who was in the marketing department. And he got along with Magic and said, bring him over. Maybe we'll have a position for him. And we brought him over, and he was so excited because he's one of those kids that's got that brain, right?
Yeah.
You can tell him one time, everybody in this room's birthday, and he'll never forget it. Or you can say, what day does March 25th, 2030 fall on? And he can tell you it falls on a Wednesday. That quick.
Yeah.
So he's got one of those brains, and so he just kind of blew them away, and they hired him on the spot, man. And so now he's been working in the clubhouse for the Dodgers in the equipment room and doing those things, and it's best for him because he interacts with the players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's there in the locker room before the games, after the games, during spring training, and he's been doing it for 9 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, changed his life.
Yeah.
Changed his life. So when we saw that, it was like, okay, this is our focus now.
Yeah.
For our foundation, we're really going to hammer hard at these corporations to get other kids to feel what we feel.
Yeah.
And for other families to feel what we feel, because there's a sense of hopelessness out there.
Yeah.
When a child starts to grow and gets older, because you want your children to do better than you.
Always.
Right? And then you want them, okay, what are they going to do when they're adults? How are they going to survive in this world? And you want somebody to look after them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that he got a job and probably going to have it for a long time, it did so many things for him, but also for us.
But I could tell because your face lit up. As you're telling the story,
yes.
Your face, everything about you changed. It's like, oh, he got a job, and he's like, because when you started out telling the story,
Right.
it's like, oh, well, now I'm gonna coach it out of him. But now to see where he is now, you're just like, he works in the clubhouse, and you're just like, it's
Amazing.
like he made it, like he won the Heisman, like he went to SC and did all the things you wanted him to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can feel it with your smile and your body language. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate
awesome,
it, man. Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
been a blessing, man.
I
It really
want
has.
to I want to kind of keep this next one in the same vein because you're talking about like an inside joy that you get, and it's from your family. And I know this one's kind of random, but your wife, she comes up on my Instagram all the time, especially lately because of South Carolina and Coach Don Staley.
Right.
Is anybody more happier than your wife right now than what Don
No,
Staley's doing? Because
no,
like every
that's
time I turn around, it's Don Staley
Oh,
this,
I know.
it's hometown this,
I know.
and they're both from Philly. So
Yeah.
how much are
See,
you hearing about this?
I didn't know how tight that Philly connection
You know what I mean?
was
Yeah.
until I met her, right? And there's a thing, it really is a thing about folks from Philly.
Okay.
Right, and so the fact that Dawn is from Philly, she's from Philly, they knew each other, way before she even got to South Carolina. So
I didn't even know that.
so they were friends, and then this run that she's been on, Holly's been her biggest cheerleader, man. So it's been great to watch. But it's she often throws that Philly thing in her face. But she is so happy on class. Like you're right. I think she's happier than Don is for the whole thing, man. She's up in the middle of the night. I got to put something together for Don on Instagram.
It keeps popping up, just
Yeah,
random
yeah.
on mine all the time. Like, dude, what is going on? I guess.
She's happy, man. Yeah, she's got that Philly girlfriend thing that's going on with her. But incredible though for women's sports, women's basketball in general. What has happened over the last year, man. It's been incredible. It's great to see.
Yeah, you've had amazing high school run, amazing college run, amazing NFL run on the field, off the field, sports, TV, radio, broadcasting, author, all these things. What's been your personal Mount Rushmore? Like, if you could name 4 people on your personal Mount Rushmore, who would those people be?
Wow.
You get 4.
I get 4. Huh?
Yes, sir.
And now this is yours, so you can kind of do it how you want.
Right.
We give you some leadway.
Well, the first two's got to be my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they up there.
Why mom and dad?
God rest her soul. She passed away a year and a half ago.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Because my mom was the one that was there taking me to practice every day. She was a school teacher, so she made sure I didn't go to practice unless I had my work done.
Yeah.
She was the one that was like, don't you ever give up. Don't you ever let them see you sweat. Don't ever show any kind of weakness because you can do anything. She was that motivator in our family. So she's definitely the one up there. Then my dad was he was a coach for so many years. He started out in high school, obviously, and then in college he coached at the University of Arizona. Then went to coach in the NFL for 20 years. He was that coach that never, how do I put this? He never coached me. He just loved me,
Mm.
right? So
That's got to be so hard.
yeah,
Though.
and it's got to be hard because I coach my sons in Little League, and I tell you, I couldn't do more than that. Little jokers wasn't doing what I was saying, man. I was like, come on, man. You know, I want him to do it like I was going to do it.
Yeah.
But no, he had so much patience. But man, he never dragged me and never forced me to go play anything or play any sport, but he was always there. He was always there. If I needed to go, play catch and work on something, he was always there. If I needed to, talk through some things psychologically about the sport and the game, he was always there. And he's one of those guys that always had a good day, right? He was always like this. No matter how high, how low, however it got, he was always that calming force in our family and with everybody. And to this day, I run into people that either played for him or knew him from back in the day, and he's the same guy. So both those guys are definitely up there. Then I'd probably have to I'd have to put my high school baseball coach up there.
Okay.
His name is Hal Eustace, and he passed away a little while ago as well. But he's the one that took what you had inside and pushed you to be better.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one to put that dog in you, right? I mean, you got to have it in you. Number one, you got to have it in you, but he's the one to help bring it out. And he was a fierce competitor as a coach, and even when he played. But as a coach, he was, and he was the one that just taught me taking those same principles, not that I had, and he would talk about on the field, but in life as well. And that's how you attack it. His name was Hal Eustace, man. So he's definitely up there.
Okay, Coach Hal.
Coach Hal's up there, and then my better half, man. Yeah, she's up there because we've been married 28 years now, and she's been with me through some good times and bad times. I mean, the times that we just talked about when my son was diagnosed, and and I was just wilding out and just drinking way too much, as I said, and then not being able to deal with the reality of what's going on. She gave me that tough love, and she's been the one that no matter what has fought for us in this family, right? So I wouldn't be here in the shape and the way I am right now had it not been for her.
Yeah.
So she's definitely up there.
That's a good one to have.
Great compliment.
Yeah,
Great compliment.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
I mean, great job, Rodney Peete.
Appreciate
Thanks
it,
for coming
fellas.
on.
Yeah,
Come on,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks for sharing all that.
And I gotta say, thank you for what you guys have you've been doing, man, because it's so important. It's so important. I mean, I watched the show with John Abraham. And,
yes,
and
that was a really deep one.
Real deep one, right?
Yes.
He got sober, right? And he talked about that, which is really cool. Christian Pondon was a good one too.
Yes.
So I appreciate what you guys, because sometimes we get lost when those playing days are over. And we got to look out for each other. So what you guys are doing is really important.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that compliment, man. Peanut has really gotten, I think since doing this podcast, I've seen growth in him and being able to accept compliments and understanding that we all got a purpose, man. But right now, to kind of live through this and getting to actually meet a lot of our own heroes and legends that we saw and watched grow up. And it's been really cool to have you on and so many other great guests. But then, you never know how this thing's going to go when we get up here on this.
Right.
And then for you to sit up here and be so candid and so open about your walk through life with your son, dealing with autism, going from trying to coach it out of him to really having your wife loving on you and making sure she's fighting for this family to keep it strong and get you on that straight and narrow path. For such a strong man that accomplished so much in the areas that we think is all the credit in the world, but to be able to sit up here humbly and tell us just like, man, I was down. But I'm here now. Really kind of shows us like, man, it's light, and this is why we do this podcast. Is to be able to shine a light on all of us that are really going out here and walking that straight and narrow path, trying to do it the best way we know possible after we hang up the cleats, when all the lights are off and nobody's really paying attention to our struggles. We appreciate that.
Yeah, well said, man. Yeah,
thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Well, Peanut, you want to get us up out of here, dog?
Yeah. Thank y'all for listening.
Been doing a great job.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, follow. Give us a 5-star rating. iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast. You can check us out. I'm Peanut. That's Rome.
That's Rodney Peete.
Hey, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for listening, tuning in. Get y'all next time. We out.